Fans are unhappy with the rumors that Brandon Sklenar has been rumored to portray the role of Batman in James Gunn's upcoming DCU projects. Welcome to Stats In. If you're just joining us, please subscribe and don't forget to turn on notifications bell for more video. Despite his recent appearances in Hollywood movies and projects, fans are not too keen to see Brandon Sklenar don the famous cape and cowl. However, Sklenar had talked about the things he would like to change about the Batman movies, if given a chance. Brandon Sklenar is being rumored to be James Gunn's top choice for the role of Batman in his DCU and the upcoming movie, The Brave and the Bold. Known for projects like 1923, It Ends With Us, and more, Sklenar has created quite a Hollywood profile for himself. However, with the recent news that Sklenar might just be the new Bruce Wayne/Batman, fans are not that happy with the decisions of the DCU higher-ups. Fans are now urging Sklenar to learn a thing or two about how Robert Pattinson prepped for his role of Bruce Wayne in the 2022 film, The Batman. The clip was shared on Reddit, originally part of a MovieWeb interview, where Sklenar stated that he would love to make his own version of Batman. The actor had an almost lazy answer when asked about what he'd like to change in his version of Batman. A clip has been circulating on the internet showcasing Brandon Sklenar talking about Batman and which actor he preferred to watch in the role of Bruce Wayne, a very generic answer indeed. What is it with people and making Batman just dark and not deep? If Brandon Sklenar indeed wishes to portray the role of Batman in James Gunn's DCU, he has a lot of learning to do from iconic actor Robert Pattinson, who is the Batman in Matt Reeves's Reevesverse. Well, I'd make my own for sure, like more true to the comic. I love Christian's Bale versions are my favorite versions of Batman, but I'd want them to see lean more into Bruce Wayne being Bruce Wayne. How he is in the comics. He continued. And then make Batman just as dark as possible. Robert Pattinson had to literally do a military-style workout to get in the young and active shape of Bruce Wayne. For his portrayal of Bruce Wayne, Robert Pattinson literally took inspiration from Nirvana frontman Kurt Cobain for the reclusive and haunted Bruce Wayne feel, via The Independent. Pattinson also spent a considerable time working on his voice and making it go darker and lower to get that hint of raspiness in Batman's voice. Pattinson also jokingly stated that he watched how Bats fights and used a clip from Planet Earth 2 to show it to director Matt Reeves. Back in 2022, when The Batman was released, very few people took the project seriously. However, that all changed when they saw Robert Pattinson's menacing portrayal as Batman. Although it hasn't been confirmed whether Brandon Sklenar has been confirmed for the role of Batman, it would be good for the actor to start delving into research and comic books to define what his Batman should be like. What do you think about Brandon Sklenar's potential casting as Batman? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. Of course, doing everything just for a screen time of 3 hours proves that Pattinson genuinely loved the character and the project instead of just being a fan of the character. Robert Pattinson's love was seen in the ratings for The Batman, 85% on Rotten Tomatoes, and Brandon Sklenar could learn a lot from following in Pattinson's footsteps. James Gunn's Superman might not defeat Man of Steel at the box office, but that is far from a doomsday scenario it might seem. Welcome to Stats In. If you're just joining us, please subscribe and don't forget to turn on notifications bell for more video. Even before Superman debuted, there had been rumors of the movie needing to gross over $700 million to break even. While director James Gunn debunked the claim, the movie might ultimately fall short of that mark and even end its run below Man of Steel's collection. Superman was arguably one of the most anticipated movies of 2025, and the James Gunn-directed reboot had the burden of relaunching the DCU. While the movie initially soared with positive reviews and strong box office numbers, the dust is finally settling as a clear picture of its commercial performance emerges. When all is said and done, Superman, which sits at a $525.3 million gross, via the numbers, might not surpass Man of Steel's $668 million collection. To most, that might seem like a doom and gloom scenario. However, that is far from the case, as Superman offered plenty of positives and should not be judged simply by its box office numbers. Here is why Superman is losing to Man of Steel at the box office, and that is fine. The same is evident in the movie's international numbers, with the movie only making $223 million from overseas markets, via the numbers. Gunn himself cited the anti-American sentiments as a reason for the movie performing below expectations overseas in an interview with Rolling Stone. However, one of the major factors in the movie's perceived box office underperformance is the titular character's American way. For better or worse, Superman is identified as a quintessentially American hero. As a result, the anti-American sentiments in the real world certainly impact the box office numbers. In contrast, Superman collected $8.8 million in China, via the numbers, making up for only 3.95% of its international box office. Hence, it is safe to say that China's move away from Hollywood blockbusters hurt Superman's box office potential. The anti-American sentiments are perhaps most prevalent in China, which was a big market for Hollywood when Man of Steel was released in 2013. The Zack Snyder-directed movie earned roughly $63.4 million in China, making for a 16.7% share of the movie's international box office collection of $379.1 million, via Box Office Mojo. In comparison to recent Marvel movies such as Captain America, Brave New World, 68%, and Thunderbolts*, 56%, Superman only dropped 54% during its second domestic weekend, significantly less than Man of Steel's 69% drop, via Deadline. Hence, despite superhero fatigue, Superman held its own at the box office. A decade ago, the superhero genre was just entering its boom when Man of Steel debuted. Fast forward to 2025, and even the MCU is having its fair share of trouble at the box office. Only 2 of Marvel's last 6 releases, excluding the Fantastic Four, crossed the $700 million mark globally, via the numbers. Gunn's own The Suicide Squad was greatly affected by the pandemic-stricken box office back in 2021, as it was released simultaneously on streaming and in theaters, via Den of Geek. While that effect has slightly faded, it would still be unfair to discount the streaming factor when evaluating Superman's box office performance. Man of Steel was released when streaming was practically non-existent. In the post-COVID-19 era, streaming releases are announced even before movies arrive in theaters, which is affecting box office figures even if marginally. Despite this, when all is said and done, Superman might not soar above the Henry Cavill-led movie. However, the 2025 reboot did restore faith in the DC brand, securing stellar reviews, leading to an 84% critic score and 91% audience score on Rotten Tomatoes. James Gunn's Superman flew into theaters on July 11, 2025, and had an opening weekend of roughly $125 million at the domestic box office, via the numbers. In the process, it surpassed Man of Steel's $116 million opening weekend figures. The movie's inclusion of crypto led to a 500% surge in interest for dog adoption, via New York Post. It also led to a rise in the sales of Superman comics, reviving interest in a character that was deemed too uncool and old-fashioned, via Daily.News. As a result, Superman offered plenty of positives and made a massive dent in the pop culture zeitgeist. While it may have underperformed in the eyes of many, it will make us re-evaluate the metrics for a movie's commercial success. From Superman, audiences and studios can stand to learn that a movie is more than just its bottom line, and maybe that's the real punk rock. Do you think Superman should be deemed a hit or a flop? Let us know in the comments.